So, good afternoon, Dr. Wendy. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Good afternoon. I'm so excited to chat with you. How are you doing?
I am so good, so excited to get into this conversation. But before I do, I have to wish you a happy belated birthday. Shout out to the 80s babies. Okay. Shout out to the 80s babies. You just entered the 40s club, as we saw. And so
Yeah.
today I want to talk a little bit about how it feels entering this new season, accomplishing this new milestone. Okay, because people can feel how they want to feel about getting older, but the alternative is not that great, right? So we are all excited to have the opportunity to be blessed to enter the 40 Club. But when we got the opportunity to meet you on the Real Housewives of Potomac, we met you as a multi-hyphenate woman, right? We met you as a wife, a mom, a professor, a media personality, a commentator, an entrepreneur. And now you are in a season of what seems to be like a transition, and you are rebranding. And one of the things that I know to be true is that nothing is permanent and that life often requires us to pivot. So I would love for you to talk about what is your current season. How would you define yourself in this season? And what was the inspiration for your latest pivot?
First of all, thank you for having me. Super excited to be chatting with you. I think for me, when I think of my current season, I'm in a season of gratitude. So often I have found myself chasing the next thing and not really being able just to sit and reflect on what I have just accomplished. And when you do that, sometimes you get lost in trying to do the next thing that you're not realizing what you just accomplished. So in this season of my life, I'm just being still and really leading with a heart of gratitude and appreciation for everything I have accomplished. And if something else comes, then great. But in this season, if it doesn't, I'm okay because I know I have accomplished so many things in which I only could dream of that I just want to give thanks, not just to, a higher power for putting me here, but also just reflect on how much I have done. And I think that the season is just titled Gratitude.
I love that. We definitely have to make sure we are grateful for what we have so that we can, receive more. One of the things I would love to know is as you have kind of made a name for yourself as a very well-educated woman, but also an educator as a professor, in transitioning out of that space after having made a name for yourself in that space, how are you feeling with this new rebrand? Do you feel, is there any fear with how you will be received, or are you excited to move into, something new?
Zero fears whatsoever. And I'm super excited to move into something new. I think that, it's okay to look at yourself or look at your career and make a pivot and say, you know what? It's not that I'll never come back to this, but right now at this time, I want to put a pause on it and see other things that are happening around me and see how I could potentially insert myself in those other things. And that's where I'm at. I feel like at the end of the day, you know, fear and success cannot coexist. They cannot stay in the same place. Where one exists, the other one naturally dies. So
Mhm.
I just believe that for me, I'm okay with stepping out on faith because I know that what's ahead of me is far greater than what's behind me.
I love that. How do you personally make the decision whether you are going to put something to the side or just pick up something else that goes along with what you already have going on? Because someone may say, well, do you have to walk away from this profession to be able to do all of the things? How do you decide whether I have to put this to the side permanently or, pause for just this season, or can I manage and maintain all of this at the same time?
That's a great question. I think for a long time, I have been trying to manage and maintain and juggle all of the things I have going on, whether it's a Dr. Wendy show, being a professor, being a wife, being a mom, my home essential line, Own Your Home Essentials, my Happy Eddie cannabis brand. All of these things has been something that I have tried to continuously juggle. But I think for me, the litmus test of whether you continue to juggle or you just put a pin in it for a second is if you feel like it no longer serves you. I think that as women, and, to be quite honest, as Black women, we're actually always of service to other people. But if we take a second and take a beat, we have to start realizing what's of service to us. And for me, I felt like I had given so much to my institution, my university. I had poured so much into my students, but when I just stopped for a second, I realized that that was not being reciprocated. And I feel like if something no longer serves you, not necessarily to the same magnitude, because not everything is always 50-50, but if it doesn't serve you, then you no longer should serve it. And that was a decision-making process for me to say, you know what? I don't want to juggle this anymore. I want to put it to the side.
So has this always been Dr. Wendy, or is this like the 40-year-old Dr. Wendy? Because I've heard that after 40, the F's are few and far between. So is this an evolved Dr. Wendy?
This is 40-year-old Dr. Wendy. And it's so funny you asked that question because just the level of lack of caring about others is so weird, and it's not in a selfish way. It's in a I cannot be to you if I cannot be to me type of way. And I think 40 gives you that level of confidence, that level of I've made decisions for 40 years, like it's different. So 1,000%. This is not what Wendy has always been. I am Nigerian. So much of what we do as Nigerian children has to do with, our parents' approval. So I have often been the one to do things not because I wanted to, but because others around me wanted to. But baby, I was 39 and 364 days. And I was like, yeah, we're not taking this into 40. We stopped this right here. And I love it. It's like a new chapter. It feels so liberating. It feels so liberating not to second guess yourself and also just to be so confident in what you're doing. I love it.
40 is like you really learning how to stand on business for yourself.
Yes.
Because for so many of us who, the Nigerian background, being the youngest, the baby sister, so many of these
Yes.
elements put you in
Yes.
this box of people pleasing, is really what it is.
Yes.
But at 40, it's like, if this person is not pleased, baby, that is my priority. And so I love that. I would love for you to share advice for a woman who is, let's say she's 37, 38, 39, creeping up on 40, but she's not looking forward to it. What is your advice in positioning this as a rebrand, as a second chance, as a new opportunity to literally use all of these lessons into this new life? What would your advice be?
So my dogs are going crazy. They may start barking again, but I would say my advice to a woman who's approaching the 40 mark is to believe in yourself and to know that just like a book has chapters, this is chapter 40, and the beauty of it is it's fresh pages. Nothing has been written, nothing is in it, and there are no expectations because you've done so well before that. 40 is for you and you alone, and embrace it and enjoy it. And it is so fulfilling to know that we have lived our lives in such a way that we can finally get to a point in our life where we're able to say, I'm doing this for me.
Love it. Dr. Wendy, you are such an inspiration, especially for women who believe that they can't have it all, or they can't have it all and actually be happy. And I think that's a perfect segue into Happy Eddie, right? I think it's a perfect segue into Happy Eddie because the chemistry that you all share on camera, the friendship that just exudes, the energy, the authenticity, at least it seems that way, that you all share on camera is definitely inspirational, and to be able to balance that with all of your business, your entrepreneurial, all of the things, definitely inspiration to women everywhere. So for people who are tuning in right now and want to continue to connect with you, catch up with you, and support all of your amazing projects, please let us know what you currently have going on and how we can support.
Absolutely. Well, first, make sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Wendy Osefo because I always, let my followers know what's next, what's in the pipeline, what's coming up. I have the Happy Eddie cannabis brand that I'm an investor in. My husband, Eddie Osefo, started Happy Eddie, and he's an attorney by trade. And what I love about Happy Eddie is the fact that while it's a homage, so to speak, to cannabis becoming legalized for recreational use in many states, it also makes sure that we have a social justice lens, which is looking at the ways in which Black and Brown people were once criminalized for cannabis possession, and now other groups of people are profiting off of that. So, how can we rewrite that narrative and making sure that people who were criminalized are able to get those records expunged? We also have Own Your Home Essentials, which is my home essential line. We have everything from candles to diffusers to hand lotions that smell absolutely divine. And I have my book, Tears of My Mother. We are doing all of the things. And I'm super excited about it because, again, it's all about following your heart and doing what makes your heart happy, but doing it in an authentic way. And I think with all of the projects in which I'm doing, they really reflect that. They speak to all of those things. So very happy about those things.
Well, congratulations in advance on all of the success that you've had and all of the success that we know is coming on behalf of Black women, as if I represent all Black women, on behalf of all the Black women everywhere. We love that you are such an example of Black girl magic in all of the spaces. You are literally proof that we can do all of the things. We can wear all of the titles. We can do it with style, with grace, and we can do it while being a wife, being a mom, nursing, all of the things that we've been able to watch you do has literally dispelled all of the myths of what is not possible. So thank you for being an example. And it is our pleasure to give you your flowers.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to me. And I'm inspired by each and every one of you. So let's keep on making this Black girl magic thing look good.